Good morning. Welcome back to Condo Craze and HOAs here on our YouTube channel. I'm Karen Curtis, and we're here again every Sunday with attorney Eric Glazer from Glazer and Sachs, PA. He's board certified by the Florida Bar in condominium and plan development law. And he has a firm with attorneys in Fort Lauderdale and Orlando. And we are here each week to continue your education and answer your questions and calls and emails about the issues that make life in your condominium or HOA absolutely crazy from 1 minute to the next. And we know it's getting really crazy. And we'd love to get our phone lines going and also our chat box on our YouTube channel going. Some people do both. They call and they put their question in the chat box. Either way, you're probably going to get answered. Right. So give us a call in the studio at 717-GLAZER-8 with a Z, 717-GLAZER-8, and the numerical equivalent of that is 717-452-9378. Eric.
Hey, good morning, everybody. And as Karen said, if you're a fan of the show, don't forget to subscribe to two things. Number one, the Condo Craze and HOAs channel on YouTube. You don't have to just watch the show live. You can watch it at your convenience. Right. Like I say every week, we built up a really fantastic library. You have a topic you want to research, guarantee we did a show about it. Yep. And number two, join our email list at condocrazeandhoas.com. By joining our email list, you can get announcements about the show, find out who's going to be on, get copies of our newsletters, updates on the law, and a whole lot more.
Yeah, oh my gosh. And, you know, if you're a fan of the show, make sure you subscribe, hit the
subscribe and like, yeah, very important to us.
And everything.
Thank you,
you know, don't forget, follow the show on Facebook, TikTok, Apple, and Spotify.
And of course, we do a blog every single Monday morning, and that blog can be found at hoa-condoblog.com, hoa-condoblog.com. Tomorrow's topic, knowing what you owe, what the association knows, and don't dare use those debit cards. And we're going to talk about that today. But before we start, I want to say a big, giant thank you to everybody who came to the West Palm Beach show on Wednesday for our Condo Craze board certification course for both condo and HOA members.
How about the turnout was huge?
The turnout was huge. Yeah, we ran out of chairs, and I'm standing up there, and it was embarrassing. I'm going to admit it was embarrassing. Yes, because I'm standing up there, and I'm trying to teach, and I'm saying, could we get these people some chairs over here? And
this is at the convention center.
This is pretty wild. But we had a lot of fun. The comments, you know, we have everybody fill out comment cards at the end, and the comments were really fantastic, except for one. One person wrote back, major complaint here. There was only soy milk available and not real milk available for the coffee, so we blew it.
You had soy milk and not cow milk?
That looks, and I can imagine, it's not me. I don't make these, you know, I don't determine who gets the milk and who doesn't get the milk. I got other things that I'm teaching, but apparently I'm to blame for the soy milk situation.
Oh my God.
Yes. But it was fun. We had a lot of fun, I can guarantee.
I mean, it's just amazing. And are there any other seminars on the horizon that you can complain about? I mean, if that was your worst complaint.
Yeah, exactly.
And plus, have they signed the bill yet?
It hasn't been signed yet. No, but give it time. It's going to be signed. Absolutely. There's so many bills. The governor is getting, sent hundreds of bills. So he has to have time to review them.
Right.
So you can't just send the governor hundreds of bills in one day.
Right.
Because him and his staff have to review them. So it's little by little. But yes, the bill is going to be signed. Everybody knows it's going to be signed.
This is a continuing education bill that you created.
Yes, exactly. So I can't wait. No, man, it's not just continuing education.
Right.
As we know. I mean, just that we're teaching this new bill week after week after week now, and we're not even close to being at the halfway mark. Not even close.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Well, the education continues here.
There's just so much to know. But yeah, you asked me if I have any seminars coming up, and at the moment, no. I don't have any seminars left on the horizon. But if your condo and your HOA wants to get certified by me teaching the course live, Zoom to your HOA or condominium, give me a call in the office, 954-983-1112. Again, 954-983-1112, and perhaps that can be arranged.
I have a question.
Yes.
And I don't mean to put you on the spot.
No, go ahead.
But is that still free?
No, that's not free anymore. No, absolutely. When we teach it at the
it's always been free.
What do we do? 20 a year, more than that, 25 a year.
You've never charged
for free.
And you feed people, and you give them like certificates.
So we can only do so much.
But if they teach you explicitly, just you for their association.
Exactly, and some associations have approached me on that.
Of course they have.
What if we want just a private session?
Of course.
It's just us. We can ask all the questions we want. Yeah, you can't do that, obviously.
I would absolutely
Yeah,
do that.
you can't do it when I'm teaching in front of, a couple hundred people.
That's
but
right.
you can do it, if you want it for your specific association. We can have it arranged.
I think
Absolutely.
that's probably going to be the future
Yeah.
because it's just,
Yes,
so
exactly.
cumbersome and everything.
Exactly.
I mean, and
Well, let me say this. Let's get to where we need to go. As we keep pointing out at our seminars and on the show the last few weeks, if this was the year for the unit owner, I can just say that this was really the year for the unit owner, and it was the year for the Florida legislature really to listen to all the complaints from all the unit owners and come back with one bill that fixes everything.
Omnibus.
Yeah, it really was. It was truly amazing. They got everything they want. There's no two ways about it that unit owners got pretty much every single thing they want. And one of the things that the owners were complaining about forever, year after year, is the lack of transparency, right, from their board. That's a typical complaint. My board, they're not transparent. There's no transparency in our records. There's no transparency in our meetings.
It's why is that?
It happens. It does happen. I can't say they're wrong. Sometimes there is a lack of transparency. And as all board members know, one of the things that you have to be transparent about is your year-end financial report and your obligation to prepare that year-end financial report April 30th.
Oh,
Time is just
up.
about up. All associations by April 30th must have their year-end financial report ready, period. It's got to be done.
For whom?
For HOAs and condos. It has to go to the unit owners. All the unit owners, all the unit owners are entitled to get a copy of that year-end financial report by April 30th, if they ask for it. It has to be done. Okay. And then the unit owners are to be told by the association, it's done. If you want a copy of it, come in the office.
Do they put it on the website?
It has to be on the website as well.
Good.
Absolutely, yes. If a website's required, and by the way, we didn't even get to the big changes in websites. We will. Okay. Little teaser. If you're in a condo, now this is a big deal. If you're in a condo, you need a website if you have 25 units.
It's pretty much everybody.
What now? It's everybody. Yeah, pretty much. An HOA, 100 homes.
Oh.
Pretty much every HOA has 100 homes.
Yeah.
So get ready, everybody. Big, giant changes.
And as you teach every year on the show, the larger the budget, the more work goes into it every year. At the year end, the financial report by the accountant, and the more expensive your report
Yeah, absolutely. The bigger your association, the bigger type of financial report you have to do, the more expensive. So let's say your association has to do a full audit this year, but the owners and the board don't want to spend all that money. It's thousands of dollars to do an audit. There's a new law that says you can waive it. You can waive the requirement to do the very expensive report. But you used to be able to waive that year after year after year. Now, 1 year. You can only waive it for 1 year, not 2 successive years in a row.
And that's this bill, the new bill?
That's in this bill now. Correct.
Whoa.
That's another thing. Right.
Whoa. So, and then the laws don't stop there, do they?
No, they don't.
HOA debit cards can no longer be used. Who's
Done.
using debit cards for what?
Who is using it? Very importantly, debit cards were being used at the blackjack table in the Hard Rock to play blackjack.
Oh, so board members with debit cards were gambling.
Correct. So now new law can't use debit cards.
You as the owner can pay with your debit card.
Correct. That's a totally different thing. Yeah, but again, we had that crazy situation. It was all over the papers. Now we have a new law for HOAs that says an association, its officers, directors, employees, agents may not use a debit card issued in the name of the association or bill directly to the association for the payment of any association expenses. Okay. Here's another complaint that the DBPR often hears. I had no idea I was delinquent. All of a sudden, I'm told I owe a ton of money in interest and late fees. How did this happen to me?
I mean, that's so unfair. If an owner apparently misses a payment, shouldn't they be told by the association?
Right, you would think, right? Well, I always told owners over the years, it's their responsibility to make sure that their account was current, period. And that still holds true, but here's the new law, okay? Another obligation, new obligation on the part of the association. A parcel owner may make a written request to the board for a detailed accounting of any amounts he or she owes to the association related to the parcel, and the board shall provide such information within 10 business days after receipt of the written request.
Not may.
You ask for it, right? Absolutely. They must tell you what you owe within 10 days. The parcel owner may provide to the board a written authorization for any occupant, licensee, or invitee of the parcel owner to make that written request for them for a detailed accounting of any amount he or she owes to the association related to the parcel. So you can have your next door neighbor make the request for you. You can have your tenant make the request for you. Anybody, but if that request is made, 10 days to respond.
Okay.
Bottom line.
Period.
Yes.
Does the request have to be return receipt?
No, it actually
Certified?
doesn't say that. Like request for records. This just says, in writing.
Ask for it.
Yes, exactly.
Email.
Correct. You can. I don't know if email's going to cut it, but that's a good question. But it doesn't actually say it here how the request is to be made. So
I get an
it says
email.
it says written request, but that does written request also include an email? No, I'm going with no on this one.
CYA just send
Yeah,
it.
send it. Look, when I tell unit owners all the time, even though the statute may not require for you to do something, certified mail or return receipt
Do it.
requested, do it, because the association can always send. Never got it. Never got it. When you send something certified mail, return receipt requested, you get back that green card, or you get back something from the United States Postal Service that says it was sent, and the other side simply refused to sign for it, refused to pick it up. Either way, you can show you sent it.
Right.
So very, very important.
I get an email when they receive payment for, the assessment. And
Oh, that's
maintenance.
great. That's great.
They send an email
That's
that it's
fantastic.
received
Not required
in a condo.
in the law. That's way to
Really?
go. Yeah, that's not
Oh,
required,
okay.
but that's very smart.
And the owner can ask the association for an accounting so we can get the unit.
Yeah, the
and
tenant
owner's
can do it
tenants
as well.
if you're renting.
Right. And, sometimes the board complains that, the owners can be pests and they ask for records all the time. Do we not hear that? My
Yes.
God, they don't stop asking, sometimes for the same records. And the Florida legislature addressed this situation again, and they said after a parcel owner, occupant, a licensee or invitee makes such a written request to the board, he or she may not request another detailed accounting for at least 90 calendar days. So you get to ask it basically once a quarter. Failure by the board to respond within 10 business days to a written request for a detailed accounting constitutes a complete waiver of any outstanding fines of the person who requested such accounting. So let's say you have a fines out there on your ledger. You request an accounting, they don't respond, that's it. The association just waived the right to collect a fine.
Whoa!
Yeah, big deal.
That's huge.
Big deal. So there you have it. So if you do owe a fine, ask for an accounting.
Boom.
Maybe the association won't respond to you, and there goes your fine. You
That's
don't owe it
HOA?
anymore. HOA. Correct.
And that they love to fine.
Absolutely.
Violation.
Yeah.
Violation.
But just wait till we get to the fining series.
Okay.
All the new laws on that. HOA owners are going to be shocked.
Oh, in a good way?
The HOA owners are going to be shocked in a good way.
Okay.
Boards in a bad way.
Okay.
I mean, I can tell you.
Now that's a tease.
Should I keep teasing? Let's just say you need to tune into that episode.
Yeah.
Right. Bottom line.
Look for what? Fines on the episode?
Yeah, fines is going to be a really big deal. A lot harder to collect a fine now. All right. Suppose I told you that in order to collect a fine in some circumstances, the entire community is going to have to vote on whether or not the association can collect that fine. How about that one?
Well, there was an article today in Palm Beach County. A woman was fined by the city $168,000
For what?
for parking her car on the grass in front of her house.
Oh my God. Well,
She's taking it all the way to the Supreme Court because it's just so outrageous.
That is outrageous. That's certainly
$160,000.
Yeah, I can't see how that can possibly stand up. But I don't know. Maybe it can stand up. There was a case recently where a unit owner wanted to get records in Palm Beach County from the association. She lost the case and had to spend, you ready, what she lost? Over $300,000 in attorney's fees to the other side because she wanted access to records.
How can that be when they're supposed to be on the website?
Well, she, at the time, remember this was an
Oh,
HOA,
okay.
didn't have to be on the website, right? So she made the request, apparently didn't do it correctly or whatever, and she filed suit, lost. She owed $300,000 to the association. So what does that tell you? Get an attorney first for certain things. not selling myself, but look what happened in a situation where she obviously didn't, right?
Yeah.
She obviously didn't. Owes
You may know
300,000.
you're right, but
Oh, just because you think you're right, what does that mean? Right? How many times do you go to court thinking you're right and you lose?
Yeah.
That happens all the time,
Yeah.
even to attorneys. But there you have it, everybody. Some other new laws passed by the Florida legislature this year and definitely expected to become law. Don't worry that the governor didn't sign it yet.
Okay.
But we have a long way to go teaching this. But let's see what our listeners think. Call us in the studio. 717 Glazer 8. Again, that's 717 Glazer 8 or 717-452-9378, or drop us a message in the chat box on YouTube. We'll be back right after this.
There are very large management companies and there are very small management companies, and I think Affinity sits somewhere in the middle of that, where they are big enough to provide you with all of the back of the house services, the accounting, the infrastructure, the support systems, but small enough to be high touch.
We believe at Affinity that we do the 9 to 5 so that you don't have to do that.
Oh no, an unexpected leak. Jay, you know that's no way to solve a roof problem. Call Best Roofing. We solve roof problems.
We are DMI Paving and Seal Coating, Florida's parking lot experts. We specialize in asphalt paving and repair, including pothole repair, seal coating using JC7 or polytar, concrete curbs, ramps, and walkways, and striping and pavement marking, as well as ADA compliance. We service commercial properties, including homeowners associations, apartment communities, shopping malls, warehouses, stadiums and arenas, and more. Experience is worth more than anything in an industry like ours, and our staff has decades of it. We have specialized equipment for any job, regardless of size, saving you time and money. DMI has a reputable history. We have been in business since 1956. We serve the state of Florida from 6 locations. Let us bid on your next parking lot project. Visit us online at dmipavingandsealcoating.com.
Rimkus Consultants offer the professional expertise to help condominium and cooperative communities provide safe, compliant buildings for their tenants. We have more than 170 Florida licensed engineers and architects who are experienced with local regulations and can assist with Senate Bill 4D compliance. We can help with milestone structural inspections, capital expenditure evaluations, structural integrity reserve studies, and developer transition reports. Focusing on energy, resilience, maintainability, and sustainability, our experts can help with every phase of the building lifecycle. For mitigation after a catastrophic event, building restoration, repair and remediation consulting, or Senate Bill 4D inspections, please visit rimkus.com.
Welcome back to Condo Craze and HOAs on our YouTube channel. Remember, we have, oh gosh, almost 200 people watching and streaming right now live. If you haven't already hit the button to subscribe and download, please do so, because he's going to continue his educating of everyone who wants to learn about HOA condo law.
Right.
We've been doing this for 15 years, and people always say at the end of your seminars, I wish it was longer. Well, you continue it here on the show.
Every Sunday is education. That's what you said this morning
Yeah.
to me, Karen, and I appreciate that. That's exactly what the show is. I hope everybody
what it
sees it
is.
that way.
Yeah,
Right.
that's what it's about.
Yep, absolutely. It's not, I hope everybody thinks it's not a show to sell the firm or anything like that. Absolutely not.
You've done it for free forever.
Right,
You've
exactly.
actually paid to do it.
Right, exactly. So we're having a good time. I hope everybody feels the same way. Everybody's here to learn, and you know what? I learn a lot from the callers as well.
You do.
Absolutely.
And you have good questions in the chat box, sir.
We certainly do. I want to go first to Deborah Guest because I think she writes the most important statement of the morning. Good morning, many prayers for Israel. And I think it's appropriate that we start off first saying that absolutely prayers for Israel. It was certainly great to see that not one missile landed yesterday. Nobody seems to have gotten hurt as a result of Iran's attack. And I hope we actually turn Iran back to the Stone Age. And I got a feeling that's probably going to happen. But we'll see what happens today or this week. But again, thanks, Deborah. Our prayers for Israel is right. Vidal writes in, would like to know more about HB 1021 and what it means for the reserve study, how we use the reserves. Bottom line, when it comes to condominium reserves, really fast, the new laws apply to those condominiums that are 3 stories or more. Again, 3 stories or more. If your condominium is not 3 stories, does not apply to you. And I make this joke every time I'm teaching the seminar. Someone's going to ask me in 2 minutes, I have a 2-story condominium. Does it apply to me? No, it does not. The new rules do not apply to you. And sure enough, 2 minutes later, I have a 2-story condominium. Does it apply to me? And everybody in the audience laughs. I say, I told you somebody's going to ask that question. It does not. And basically, what do the new laws say? When it comes to reserve studies, you are going to have to do your structural integrity reserve study. And the new reserve study requires, again, about 10 different items that now have to be reserved for. It used to be 3. Now it's about 10. Robert, there we go. Sorry about that, Robert. Now it's going to be about 10 different things that have to be reserved for anything that has to do with the structural integrity of your condominium.
And you'll do the first study, and you're probably going to have to do the second one.
Yeah, correct. If you're in Dayton, Broward, you have to do not only structural, you have to do structural and electrical. Everywhere else in the state, you have to do only structural, and you probably have to do a milestone inspection 1, probably a milestone inspection 2 if the first milestone inspection person finds signs of any structural deterioration.
And they will. Just to cover their own.
How can you not? So eventually that engineer is going to give you a list of things that need to be repaired. It's going to give that same list to the building official in your town, your municipality. That building official is going to give you a timeline in order to make those repairs, okay? And again, getting back to reserves, you're going to have to reserve for all of those 10 items that are in there. That reserve study can only be done by architect, engineer, or someone with CAI credentials. Architect, engineer, or CAI credentials. Really fast to finish up the topic on reserves. As we know, the reserve study used to be done by the board. So board members would get on. I say this all the time. Board members would get on, and while Sally may have been a great teacher, or John may have been a great cop up in New York, they probably don't have the credentials to determine the life expectancy of a roof. So they would come on and say, no, we can make things cheaper. That was their election campaign. We can make things cheaper, and suddenly they get on the board and say, the roof doesn't have a 3-year life expectancy. It has a 15-year life expectancy, right? So in order to drop the assessments down every month. And somehow with this new board, the roof got better with age like fine wine, right? And it just doesn't work that way. So because it doesn't work that way, the legislature took the ability to do the reserve study away from the board members, and now it's got to be done again. Architect, engineer, or someone with CAI credentials.
I just have to tell you, the people that kept asking you, we have a 2-story building, do we have to do it?
Right.
Just remember though, if there's parking underneath it,
It might. It might. If the
change-
parking
and-
is
and it's
below
cannot-
ground level,
you
yes.
don't- it's hard to understand that.
You have to get the determination from your local
That's right.
building official. Ask them if it applies,
Yeah.
okay? Because I still don't know the exact answer
So
to
if
the
it's
question.
underground parking
Yeah,
and you have 2 stories,
100%.
is
Yeah, I would
that
think
a
then
free
it's going to
story?
apply. If
That's
then it's
gonna
going
apply.
to apply, yeah, then I think it might.
Okay.
But, you know, I got to ask your local building official, okay? All right, who else we got on the phone? I would like to know if the Unicorn writes in. I would like to know if the board member or president can get paid to do work around the community by saying he was the lowest bid. Okay, the HOA statute was all over the fact, and portions of the condo statute this year, the new statutes, spoke all about conflicts of interest. There is so much of the new statutes dedicated to conflicts of interest. But generally, what is the law? There must be disclosure. Someone on the board can enter into a contract with the board, right? But they got to step back. They certainly, let's say someone knows how to do painting, and they say, I am a great painter, I have a painting company. Why should we hire somebody outside of me? I will give the board the best price. I'm licensed, insured, etc. I'll do it, right? And can the board hire that person? The answer is yes. The answer is yes. If some hoops are jumped through, the hoops jumped through being that relationship has to be disclosed in the contract, and when that is voted upon, 2/3 of the other directors have to vote in favor of that contract. If it's not done that way, then the contract can be canceled. And if there's failure to properly disclose, the owners themselves have a right to cancel the contract this time. Some brand new language in the statute that gives the unit owners the right to cancel a contract, believe it or not, and even cancel a contract with a management company if the management company doesn't have full disclosure now. If the management company can do those things for you, like painting, plumbing, things like that, management company doesn't disclose that they have an interest in the plumbing company, the landscaping company, etc., the board can cancel that contract. So a lot of the new laws, as we'll discuss, has to do with failure to disclose conflicts of interest. If there's a failure to do it, the person who failed to disclose the conflicts of interest, they're going to suffer. They will lose the contract. Okay? But if there's proper, full disclosure, yes, a board member can do the work. Okay? Rob, first call of the day is?
Let's go to Lucas.
Lucas, good morning.
We just got elected as board members, 3 to 2. It's been a week. We still have not gotten any access to any records, any information. I basically asked to have records, all records to be updated on everything. Scheduled a meeting for myself and another board member, but the property manager and previous president, basically they, it's not there's no quorum needed, but they changed my terms, changed my request. Now they want to have all 5 board members to do a records request without the 48-hour notice, and that's not the type of meeting that we want.
Wait,
So
hold on.
what's the
Let me
best
slow you
thing-
down, Lucas. Lucas, let me slow you down, because I want to make sure I'm understanding.
Yeah.
You just got elected to the board, right?
Yes.
Okay, and you want records from whom? Who do you want these records from?
Both the property manager and
Okay,
previous
property
board-
in the prior board, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so let me tell you what these laws state, okay? And it's very clear. First, even now, the board members have to turn over, the prior board members have to turn over all records in their possession within 5 days of no longer being on the board. So that's something they should have done already. Okay, so you're saying the prior board members failed to turn over any of the records?
We have no access to any council. We have nothing. They want to have a meeting themselves, like if it was a quorum with a 48-hour notice for the whole community. That's not what we want.
No, hold on. The prior board members want to have a meeting?
Yes, sir.
Okay, why are they entitled to a meeting? Only the board determines.
Exactly.
Right. So the bottom line is forget their meeting request, right? You want the records within 5 days, end of story, or you can take legal action against them. I have no idea why a prior board is demanding that you have a meeting first prior to turnover of the records. That's number one. They don't dictate how the records get turned over. Okay, bottom line is the law requires 5 days. put a demand in writing to them, telling them that they need to turn it over. If they don't, you're filing suit. Okay? Next, the management company, you're telling me also, failed to turn over records, right? Well,
Exactly.
again,
They changed everything.
I'm going to keep giving hints as to what's coming. So we hear complaints like this all the time, right? So when this new law passes, the management company, right now they have to turn over the records within 20 days, but going forward, if they don't turn over the records within 20 days, how's $1,000 a day fine sound? Right. $1,000 a day fine. Yeah. So
That's the management company.
that's the management company. $1,000 a day fine. Oh, don't get me wrong. They can still face disciplinary proceedings if they fail to turn over the records now, right? But going forward, $1,000 a day fine. So
Why don't they
So,
lose their
Eric,
license?
the last question would be this, and thank you. You'll need quorum, 5 members to have access to be updated if I'm the one with another board member. So we'll need to have a 48-hour notice. Am I correct with that? Or
absolutely, a quorum has nothing to do with anything. The minute that those board members were no longer board members, they had an obligation to turn over the records. Now, is the management company still the management company? The old management company, are they still the management company?
Yes, they are.
Okay, well, if they're not turning over the records, why aren't you firing them?
Yeah.
They need to be fired.
Very close.
Yeah, and not
Yes, sir.
very close. It shouldn't be close. If they won't turn over the records, period, fired, end of story. Okay, the board should take a vote.
Beautiful.
Yes, you do need a quorum to have a meeting to terminate the management company. You have 5-member board, you need 3 to show up. And if 3 people, you're going to need 3 people to terminate the contract. If you can do that, then the bottom line is they're gone.
But
they are gone.
if you get $1,000 a day fine,
Yes.
who gets that $1,000?
The association would get it.
Then why would you fire them?
Well, no. Well, because they need the records before July 1st.
Oh, okay.
That goes into effect on July 1st.
Okay.
But any management company who won't turn over the records to the new board, they're gone. What are you waiting
Okay,
for?
all right.
Okay. You have a matter of fact, I would tell you that if you're not getting the records and you can't do business as the
Right.
new board, you have an obligation to fire them.
Yeah, you
They
do.
should
right.
be gone. Okay.
Fiduciary duty.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
All right, we got to do this. We're going to take our bottom of the hour break. Keep the calls coming in, 717-452-9378, 717-452-9378, or drop your question in the chat box on YouTube. We'll be back right after this.
The future of fiber is here. QXC Communications is a fiber network engineering firm based in Boca Raton. We build fiber networks that deliver high-speed internet, Wi-Fi, HDTV, and voice services, primarily to Florida's condominium communities. QXC's AON architecture is the industry's best practice and a game changer for our customers. We run 2 dedicated fibers to each unit. No splitters, no cables. So, every resident gets uninterrupted blazing fast speed and military-grade data security. Our Wi-Fi 6 network deployment powers performance on multiple devices with no dead zones. And the QXC TV app makes everyday programming access a breeze with 3-day rewind and optional cloud DVR. QXC AON Fiber is where the industry is heading. Get connected today.
Is your condominium or HOA in need of accounting services? Look no further. Gerstle, Rosen & Goldenberg is one of South Florida's largest accounting and auditing firms, as recognized by the South Florida Business Journal, and is one of the few accounting firms uniquely specialized to provide accounting services to their growing condominium and homeowner association clientele throughout Florida. With primary offices in Aventura and Boca Raton, satellite offices in Naples and Orlando, and a professional staff of 65, Gerstle, Rosen & Goldenberg is prepared to meet the needs of any condominium or HOA in the state. The professionals at Gerstle, Rosen & Goldenberg also have experience working with timeshares, cooperatives, hotel condominiums, mixed-use buildings, and ancillary operations like restaurants, spas, and country clubs. Put their 25 years experience in your corner. Gerstle, Rosen & Goldenberg, 305-937-0116. That's 305-937-0116 or grgcpa.com.
Someday, you will need insurance. And for that day, you'll be glad you wrote down Insurco Insurance and Financial Services. Why? Because Insurco virtually insures everything. They're a full-line insurance agency that'll put together the best possible coverage and premium for almost anything. Need homeowners or condo insurance? Call Insurco. Need auto or motorcycle insurance? Call Insurco. How about golf cart insurance or trailer and RV insurance? Just call Insurco for a free quote. They're open every day. From renters insurance, officers and directors insurance, and personal liability umbrellas to all types of business insurance, boat insurance, cancer policies, life, health, and annuities. All you need is Insurco. Get a free quote. They service Dade, Broward, and Palm Beach. Speak English and Spanish. Insurco Insurance and Financial Services. It's the only name you need. Office at 14401 West Sunrise Boulevard in Sunrise, inside Edmore Chevrolet.
Call 954-846-1206. 954-846-1206. That's 954-846-1206.
All over the world, people have plumbing problems. These problems can be expensive and destructive to fix. Have you ever wondered if there was a way to take care of your plumbing problems without destruction and an outrageous price tag? Welcome to Pipelining Technologies, Inc., where we specialize in fixing your problems without demolition and minimum cutting by means of pipelining. Pipelining is the ability to take a pipe damaged by root intrusion or long-term deterioration and make it new. By means of inserting an epoxy-saturated liner into the pipe and allowing it to harden or cure, leaving behind a brand new pipe.
That sounds great. How can I get pipelining in my home, commercial building, or condominium?
Simply fill out our online contact form and a pipelining representative will get in touch with you in a timely fashion, or call us directly at 561-853-5463.
Seven 452-9378. If you're new to the show and you're just tuning in, please subscribe, download, and hit the bell.
Okay, a lot of good questions on the board. Davey 2020 writes in, is property maintenance considered a fiduciary duty, and can board members be personally sued? Let's stop there. The bottom line is yes. There's a condo statute that very specifically says the boards must make repairs to the property, shall make repairs, absolutely. If they're responsible for those areas of the common elements, absolutely shall. Now, bottom line is even in an HOA, board members owe a fiduciary duty to the unit owners to act in their self-interest. Now, generally speaking, it is almost impossible to get individual liability against a board member. Very, very difficult. You got to show a violation of the criminal law or a kickback, or they're suing somebody because they don't like their race, religion, or color. And there's one other exception, when they act with disregard for safety of the community. Okay, so let's say, this is an example I always give. Let's say the board members are up there tonight for their meeting, for their April meeting, and they see somebody slip on a broken tile. And they say, oh, we're sorry, we're going to fix it for the next month's meeting. By April, they don't fix it. By May meeting, they don't fix it. The June meeting, they don't fix it. At July meeting, someone comes in, falls on the broken tile, and breaks a hip, right? If I'm representing that person who slipped, I can certainly have a good case against the board members in their individual capacity. Why? Because I can certainly show that month after month after month they knew about it, and they had a complete disregard for the safety of their residents.
But even if it was a verbal from the board saying, oh, we'll fix that tile, they
once
didn't put it in writing?
Once they saw it, they had an obligation to make that repair. Because somebody could get hurt. So what I tell board members...
They're aware of it.
Absolutely. Once they're aware of it, absolutely. So I tell board members all the time, once you see a safety issue, stop, drop, and fix it. Because if you don't, believe it or not, your personal finances may be at risk. You can get sued in your individual capacity, and no, the insurance company may not have to pay that for you. It can come out of your own funds, okay? Be very wary, be very careful when it comes to safety issues. And by the way, saying that we didn't have the money for it, not an excuse. Did you pass a special assessment? No. Did you try to borrow money from a bank? No. Judgment for the plaintiff. Be careful.
What if you fix it and it's not fixed great and
Okay,
it still has a lip on it?
as long as you
still
acted
trip?
in
Okay.
good faith. Good faith is fine, no problem.
So you didn't
okay?
like go all out and fix it properly, but
If you didn't fix it
just,
properly
like,
and you knowingly didn't fix it properly, it's
there
on
go.
you.
Yeah.
Okay?
You can't like.
Who do we got, Rob?
Yeah.
Let's see. Let's go to Sean. It seems like from St. Pete.
How are you, Sean?
How you doing today, Eric?
Okay, how can we help?
I'm doing great. Just try to keep it real quick. So with the HOA and not being able to use the debit cards, does that mean that they can't do a deposit at an ATM with a debit card also?
No debit cards.
Oh.
No debit cards mean no debit cards, period.
Well, you can
now,
deposit
you can
without
use
a
credit
debit
cards. You can use credit cards, you know, like you can have an association credit card account. No debit cards. Absolutely. Just don't do business. It's wrong. I never liked it.
Okay.
And I can tell you that CPAs who do year-end financial audits don't like it.
Okay.
Okay? Don't give, you know, a board
you
member...
can swipey.
Yeah, immediate access to withdraw from the association's account. You know, the ability to withdraw from an association's account should be by check, right? Where 2 board members have to sign off, or an ACH where 2 board members have to approve it. It should never be that one person walks around with a debit card, can stick it in a machine and get cash. Absolutely not. Yeah, go ahead.
Is an auto pay thing out of the HOA account covered by that as well then? Like if you have like a lawn maintenance agreement and you know it's a fixed amount.
That's
every month,
different. That
and
should
you just
come.
have that on auto pay.
No,
Okay.
that's fine. An auto pay is fine. An auto pay is not a debit
Okay,
card. That's
makes
what I'm
sense.
saying. Yeah, that can come out of your account by auto pay every month, no problem. But we don't want it coming out of the association's account with a debit card right to a board member. That's exactly what we don't want. Okay? Checks and balances.
I completely agree. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Keep going, Rob. Who do we got?
Looks like the next caller is Christina, could be?
Christina, good morning. Is it Christina?
Or Dawn?
Dawn?
Let's go to Dawn. How are you, Dawn?
Dawn? Okay, I'm fine.
Oh, it's Dawn.
Can you hear me okay?
Oh, Dawn. How are you, Dawn?
Dawn?
Yes.
Okay.
Where are you calling from?
Hello.
Yes, where are you calling from?
From Boca.
Okay, how can we help?
Okay, so our association was formed back in 1988. And in 1996, the board filed with the state the bylaws and what have you.
Let me stop
and in
there.
the
Hold on. Wait. You can't have it both ways. You're saying your association was formed in 88, and then your bylaws in 1996. It's if you
in
were
1996, yeah.
Yeah, it's either one or the other. You were either formed in 88 and your bylaws were created at that time, or you were formed in 96 and your bylaws were created at that time. But you can't have it, you know, in 88, you say you were formed, but the bylaws created 8 years later.
Yeah, the original, there was 3 builders. The original builder filed with the state. I guess you're going to say the bylaws, and then I guess the board in 96 might have updated them.
Okay, that makes sense. No problem.
That makes sense?
Yes.
The question is, in there, it says may create a reserve, and then if in the documents, board documents, it says shall include a reserve.
Okay, let me ask you this.
What the board did, yeah.
Are you a condo or an HOA?
1 second.
What are you, a condo or an HOA?
HOA.
Okay.
So what the board did 2 years ago was take the original reserves and shrink them down and take the sub-accounts out of them without notifying the community or the community voting on it. So I was just wondering if that's legal.
I would need to know a lot more about what they did. So first of all, let me teach everybody a little thing. In a condo, when you do the budget every year, the budget shall contain reserve accounts. Okay?
Right.
You're going to be able, everybody, to waive reserve accounts for 1 more year. Your structural integrity reserve study has to be done by December 31st, 2024. We'll get to your question, Don, but every time these things come up, I just want to educate everybody fast.
Someone's asking what a threshold inspection is. Is that the same thing?
Totally different.
Okay.
But December 31st, 2024, right? 2024, you have to have your structural integrity reserve study done by December 31st, 2024. You have the ability to waive reserves for the year still of 2025. Okay, one more year you're going to have the ability to waive reserves. January 1st, 2026, all bets are off. So when you do your budget, let's say in about a year from now, in November, if for the 2026 year, that budget must include fully funded reserves, including everything in your structural integrity reserve study. Now, that's for condominiums. I want to go back to your issue about HOAs. In an HOA budget, reserves get in there differently. It's not a shall standard. It's basically a may standard. They get in there if the developer put reserves in there in the original governing documents. 2, the unit owners can vote for reserves, and 3, the board members themselves can vote for reserves, put it in the budget, as long as there's no prohibition of it in the governing documents, and you're not exceeding your budget by a certain amount, and it doesn't violate, again, the governing documents. What you're telling me, it seems, is that there was a requirement to have budgets, to have reserves in your budget. They were funded,
correct,
and then the board took them out at some point, and they used the reserves, I guess, to make repairs?
No, they reorganized the reserves.
Okay.
They shrunk the subcategories and the categories down to what the original reserves were.
Okay.
So it's entirely different.
Okay. But there's still does it vastly make the amount of contributions less? Is it less now?
No, not really, because they do it a little bit differently.
Okay, so as long as the developer didn't have very specific categories, it seems to me like your board is still doing it in good faith, and they're reserving for in your HOA. And I got to tell you, that's a lot better than most HOAs, and I think they're doing the right thing. That sounds perfectly fine, even though they lowered the amount of categories. Okay, let's do this. Let's got to go. Final break of the hour. Taking your call, 717-452-9378. Back right after this.
Is your home or condo looking old, worn out, and in need of a fresh look? Then you need PD Painting to paint your property and make it look like new again. PD Painting will first properly prepare your home and condo and then use only the highest quality paint products. After many years in the painting industry, PD Painting has achieved a reputation for always delivering a reliable and professional finish. PD Painting is fully licensed and insured and offers a 7 to 10-year warranty. Their technicians are expert craftsmen. Let PD Painting handle all the details and then sit back and watch them restore your property and bring back that brand new look and feel. Need a service call? PD Painting will be there on the spot. Need financing? PD Painting can offer that too. Call PD Painting at 888-416-3204. Again, that's 888-416-3204. Go to the website pdpaintinginc.com. Need painting done in your home and community? Contact the experts at PD Painting.
This message is for anyone who has taken on the important responsibility of becoming an officer or director in a homeowner or condominium association. It is also for the management companies who work closely with these caring people to make sure things are done the right way. Hello, I'm Gil Pomar, South Florida Regional President for Center State Bank, now the second largest bank based in Florida. Our bank, Center State Bank, has an amazing team of professionals who are exclusively dedicated to the homeowner and condo association market. Your job is not easy. There are repairs and new projects that need financing. There are legal and social issues that need to be understood. There are also technology and servicing issues that your residents want to be improved. Why not choose a bank that knows this business backward and forward? Why not have a local banker who will meet with you face to face whenever it is convenient for you or your board? Center State Bank has over 2,000 associations as customers for a reason. Please give us a chance to earn your business. Call Terry Russo at 954-633-1666 to make it happen. Center State Bank is an equal housing lender and a member of the FDIC.
Need an insurance evaluation, audit, or quotation for your condo association or homeowners association? If so, then you need to speak with our insurance experts at Mack & Waltz. We insure over 800 associations, and we are the clear leader in this marketplace. Mack & Waltz has been in business since 1989. We write insurance on billions of dollars of property values. We are an independent insurance agency representing insurance companies which specialize in condo and HOA insurance. The staff at Mack & Waltz works closely with board members and property managers and regularly attends association meetings to help educate the association about their insurance policies. To learn more about how Mack & Waltz can save you money and improve your insurance program, call now 954-640-6225 and ask for Greg Waltz. 954-640-6225. Mack & Waltz Insurance Group. Let us protect your association.
And if you are, did they not hear me? Okay, welcome back. Anyway, if you are now joining us live, just make sure you subscribe and download because we have a lot of new people that are streaming. And welcome to the show.
Okay, so Kathy writes a question. I'm sure she means well, but I think she's confused by her question. Eric, please explain if the Kaufman language, the time after time language, only applies to the section where that is written, or is in reference to the whole document?
Oh, that's a good one.
Okay, so I think there's some confusion here. Kathy, what is Kaufman language? And everybody needs to learn this. It's very possible that some laws that get passed by the Florida legislature may apply in your condominium, but not the condominium next door. Or it may apply in the condominium next door and not in your condo. Very confusing concept to understand, but it all depends on whether or not you have what's called Kaufman language or as amended from time to time language if you're in your governing documents. So let's say there's a condominium that was built in 1986 and 10 years later in 1996 a law was created, and that law changes the rights of either the association or the unit owners that live there. It takes away somebody's rights. So we have to look in the Declaration of Condominium in 1986 when it was filed. Does that condominium have Kaufman language? Meaning that, does it say that this condominium adopts the laws as they exist in 1986 when the condo was created? Or does it say we adopt the laws in 1986 and as amended from time to time?
So the Kaufman language trumps any kind of law the legislature will pass.
Potentially. Well, or it might take away the ability to utilize that law. So, for example, let's say you don't have Kaufman language. The argument is, and I argued a case like this in front of the Florida Supreme Court. If you don't have the Kaufman language in your docs, that condo is potentially stuck in the laws as they exist in 1986, and the new laws don't apply to you. And yes, everybody, there are thousands and thousands of condominiums around the state that don't have this language. So you're listening in today, the one homework assignment that you do have, you need to check your governing documents and go back and see if you have Kaufman language, meaning as amended from time to time language.
Kaufman language.
I'm sorry?
When did they come up with Kaufman language?
The Kaufman language has to do with a case that was decided, I think, in the 1980s. I don't know the exact date. So, and again, I argued a case all about Kaufman language that was in front of the Supreme Court in 2011. It was probably the last time a case involving condominium law was argued in front of the Supreme Court. And if you're into these things, you're a nerd, that you want to see it, the actual oral argument is on our condominium's website. So just go take a look. You can actually see the argument in front of the Supreme Court.
Website is what?
Condo-laws.com. Again, condo-laws.com. Who do we got?
Let's see, we go to Michael.
Hey, Michael.
Good morning.
Good morning. Where are you calling from, Mike?
Can you hear me?
Yeah, where are you calling from?
Boynton Beach.
All right, how can we help?
Beach.
How can we help, Mike?
Great seminar.
Thank you so much.
Palm Beach. That was great.
Thank you so much.
I wanted to discuss with you the traffic infraction problem.
Yes.
And I'm reading from one of your slides right now, and you say that the fine can only be issued if it's a third party doing the issuing for speeding or for passing a stop sign, let's say.
Correct.
So if we have cameras in the community to catch just these infractions,
yes,
and the camera is calibrated often by a third party who sold us the camera,
right?
Is that good enough?
Right. It might be, and I think that's what the intent of the legislature was there. They didn't just want the association putting out a speed trap of its own with a sign, and the association having the ability to calibrate that machine so that if someone's going 18, yes, this association can go after them for going over 25. They wanted a third party to be responsible for this, so that unit owners don't get hit with what the association says. Has to be a third party, just like it is when you're driving in the street, right? So that's what the legislature wants. So I do think you're still going to be able to have fines for traffic infractions, but not only if that third party is in control of the radar device.
Yes, that's what it's going to be. Yes.
Exactly.
Now let me move on, please, to the fines cannot be imposed on visitors or people just staying overnight, maybe at a resident's house.
Right.
They can speed and flaunt our laws and just walk away.
Listen, we're not saying that they can flaunt your laws. I get what you're saying, but this is what the complaint is typically about. I am expecting a furniture delivery, right? And the furniture guys come in and they speed through the community, and they wind up doing 35 through the community. And the association thinks that they can give me a ticket for the acts of the furniture deliverer, right? And you're like, wait a minute. How in the world is it possible for me to be responsible for what the furniture truck driver did?
We have free will. And
yeah, I mean, I'll tell you, that's one thing I absolutely believe in.
Yeah.
And so how can you be responsible for him or any one of your other invitees?
Right.
If they don't listen, why should it be on you? So that's one, I absolutely got to agree with.
So we have no enforcement ability with somebody's guest.
Not when it comes
to the commercial guy.
Yeah, not when it comes to someone who's not the actual guest, or someone who's not the actual owner of the property. I'm for that one. That's my stance on it. Okay.
Okay. You don't have to agree all the time. Okay.
Exactly. Hey, thanks a lot. I'm glad you enjoyed the seminar.
And he still had questions.
Yes.
Right. Still had questions. Listen, I always say this at the seminar. I can teach this now. You know how many times I updated the seminar?
Oh.
I can teach this for days and days and days. There can be a condo and HOA course. Let's take our last call of the day.
Hi, my name is Dawn. I'm from Miami in
Dawn.
a condo.
Yes.
I have two thoughts. Thank you first for everything that you do.
Thank you very much.
My thoughts are, I've heard other people say, how are they going to enforce all the new laws and requirements that we have? I think probably the best way it's going to happen is through the insurance company or lenders, because at the end of the day, if the buildings don't comply, it's going to kind of go back to them, and then it's going to be hard for people to sell or buy units, and also to insurance. And
that's a good point.
Well, that's true. So let me follow up on what you're saying. That's true. Insurance companies are now going around taking a look at buildings and saying, hey, we're not going to issue an insurance policy unless we've seen that you've made certain repairs to your property, and unless they see that your roof is up to date, unless we see that you're actively putting money away for reserves, because the insurance company doesn't want to be left holding a building, let's say if it goes through a storm, holding a building that can't go back to being put together, even if the insurance company will pay some of it. So, yes, the insurance companies are going to be coming around and taking a much harder stance at your association before they're going to issue a policy for it. I'm sorry, Karen, you were saying?
Well, you also wouldn't be able to get a mortgage either. If
Absolutely.
Your mortgage is dependent on the insurance
Absolutely. It's
company
getting much harder. Exactly. It's getting harder to get a mortgage for a lot of things. A, if you don't keep the building up to date, they're going to want to see your structural
That's
integrity
right.
reserve study. They're going to want to make sure that you're putting money away because they're worried that if they lend the money to somebody in the building and the building suffers a problem,
That's right.
is that building going to be able to get put back? If not, the mortgage that they just gave is lost. So I agree with you. That's a great point, Dawn.
Yeah.
Although,
okay. And then the other thought I wanted to have is I personally don't want to move, but I just want to throw this out here. Does the board or should they have a fiduciary responsibility to at least investigate, form a committee, whatever, to entertain the idea of a developer buying us out? Even though I personally don't want to move, I don't know how much it's going to cost to fix our building, and I don't know if our property itself is worth more, and that might be a feasible option. I realize we still will need like 85% of the people to agree, but I think it should be on the table to give people an option of what they're going to have to spend as opposed to what somebody may give us, and boards keep blocking it because everybody is scared, and I think they should have a fiduciary responsibility to entertain this topic.
Dawn, this is a great phone call because what I'm hearing from some people is that they understand that that the association's been given an offer by a developer.
it's going to happen more and more.
Yes, and sometimes you have board members who say it's a bad offer, or I don't want to sell right now, so they don't tell the people in the community about the offer. Do I think there's a fiduciary duty to tell the people in the community of the offer? 100%.
There should be.
Absolutely.
You should have to vote on it.
Absolutely. They should simply tell the community.
Even if you weren't given an offer, are we allowed to go out and seek companies? Because obviously the developers are going to go for the buildings on the beach, but sometimes you can go out on your own and try to drum up interest.
So I'm not going to go that far to say that a board has an obligation to go find developers. No, I'm not going to go that far. But I do think that a board, once given an offer, 100% has the fiduciary duty to pass that offer on to the board. And if there's repairs that still need to be made out there, we got to go through a structural integrity reserve study. We might have went through it, and we know repairs are going to cost this building $10 million.
And
right?
If you can't afford it, then why not?
We can't afford it, maybe. Everybody's going to be hit with a special assessment for this amount. Hey, we got a developer that just came around that's offering us this amount. What do you want to do? Done 100%. I think that a board of directors has the obligation to let the community know what's going on. I think it's a great phone call.
Yeah,
all right?
thank you.
Fantastic way to end the show. I appreciate it. I appreciate the great comments that everybody made today about our seminars, about what we do each week. The education we try to keep going every single week, week in and week out, right? Thanks for tuning into Condo Craze and HOAs. If you need help off the air, you can give our law firm a call. That's Glazer & Sachs, 954-983-1112, 954-983-1112. We'll see you again next Sunday. We'll speak to you again next Sunday here on the YouTube channel.
Yeah.
And everybody have a wonderful, safe week. Take care, everybody.
Thanks.